Hello everyone, this is Danny Segura and I'm joined by Stephan Bonnar, who will be fighting at Bellator 131 against Tito Ortiz. Stephan, how are you?
Good, man.
Now, Stephan, an article recently came out regarding your camp. Tito Ortiz said he infiltrated your camp and he sent your wrestling coach, Paul Herrera, and he's, I guess, acting as a spy and giving him some insight on your camp. What are your thoughts on that and how much truth is behind that?
That's hilarious. He's just fishing for something. I mean, the bottom line is Paul Herrera's not working with him. Paul Herrera's working with me on my wrestling defense and what Tito's good at. I could watch Tito's fights. I know them all. I know his double leg, his underhook and knee tap, and we worked on defending his game. So, I mean, if it is true, it doesn't matter because my wrestling got a lot better working with Paul Herrera, and no one else could be in the cage with Tito. But he is full of shit, and like that stuff he said, like Dana White too, like wanted the fight to be in the UFC, and he masterminded. He's so full of shit. Tito's too dumb to pull any of that anyway.
Now, is that a concern? His wrestling does that concern you at all?
Of course, I mean you can't look past the guy's skills. He's a solid fighter. He's been around for a long time, and his biggest strength is definitely his wrestling.
Now, you prior to your Anderson Silva fight, and I've talked to you before in the past. You said how you wanted a big fight. You were tired of fighting sort of like the Kyle Kingsburys, and you wanted a big names. Do you feel like this is a big name? Do you feel like this is the type
Yeah,
of fights you
this
were
is
looking
it.
for?
This is it. This is what got me out of retirement. I mean, I wasn't like chomping at the bit to come back and fight. I just got an offer of like a big name, main event, huge card, and just the kind of fight I wanted against a guy I truly have nothing but disdain for.
Do you feel like you sort of had to leave the UFC for you to get in this career path and start getting big name fights?
Well, it just wasn't happening in the UFC, so I accepted retirement. Like Dana's all about guys hungry for that title, and if you're not hunting for that title and fighting the next number one contender on the list, then hang it up. And I knew that I was kind of done hunting for the title, and the only thing that interests me is fights with big names. And we didn't see eye to eye on that. So I mean, I accepted that and moved on with my life. But then Bellator gave me a ring and music to my ears. This is the kind of fight that sparks my interest. That I'll suck it up and go through hell and train for. And I got it.
Now, with that being said, are you happy with the way your career is now heading?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big fight. It's what I wanted. I mean, I can't ask for anything more. It's like a blessing. I mean, uh, I'm getting paid money to punch Tito Ortiz, like probably the biggest asshole the sport's ever known. Like someone's gonna pay me to do that. That's truly a blessing when you think about it.
Now, you haven't fought in some time, but Tito has. Um, What did you make of his last fight against Shlemenko? What did you see? Do you feel like the old Tito's back? Often when he lost, he would come up with excuses that he had injuries. But with this fight, he said he was healthy and he's 100% back. Do you buy that? And what'd you make of his fight against Shlemenko?
Well, his fight against Shlemenko, I really got to give Paul Herrera a lot of credit for. It was a great game plan, and I heard from people in his camp that they worked on that every day. When Shlemenko gets taken down, he goes to all fours and gives up his back. Spiral ride, break him down to his back, go for the head and arm choke. I know that's something they drilled, and it worked perfectly according to T. So I give Tito credit for pulling that off, and Paul credit for setting up the game plan. But with that said, I believe Shlemenko's going down to 170, and Tito is a bigger, stronger guy, and used that strength to get that victory. But still, I'm not taking anything away from him. Shlemenko's a tough guy, and he choked him out.
Now, apart from your fighting career, you've also made a career in commentating, and in my opinion, I think you're one of the best commentators out there. I think the first time I saw you commentating was at WEC 47, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Good.
I think you replaced Frank Mir, it was, and I think you did
Yes.
a splendid job. Is that something you want to try to do, and perhaps maybe get to do it in the Bellator cage?
That'd be great. Right now, I'm the guy for Titan fighting,
Hmm.
and I'm enjoying calling those fights. But yeah, just like getting this offer to take this big fight. I mean, if I got an offer to call fights, like that's a blessing. Yeah, and I love doing it, and for sure, I jump at opportunities that came along. I'm all about when opportunity knocks, answer the door. And that's what happened in this fight, and that's what happened before with commentating. So, yeah, I'll definitely answer that door.
And also, on November 15th is going to be a big night for MMA. Obviously, there's World Series, Bellator, and the UFC. Why do you think fans should tune in to watch your fight instead of the other cards?
Probably first and foremost, I know with my friends, a lot of them piss and moan if they have to buy a pay per view, and they hang it over my head. And I dropped $50 on that. So this is free, man. It's on Spike, just like the Ultimate Fighter season one finale. And I feel like it's coming full circle, and that motivates me to go in there and put on a show, put on a crazy fight.
So, what can your fans expect on that night, and how do you see the fight with Tito going?
Just chaos. I want to come out and just take it right to him and start hitting him from the bell. And I want to be just in one of those type of fights, in a dog fight. And I'm not worried about him punching me. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, stuffing takedowns and hitting him in his big, ugly head.
Now, last question. Tito often says that he gave up a title shot to fight you just because he wants to beat you up. As long as I'm concerned, if you beat a guy who is going to get a title shot, you become that guy. And, that sort of makes sense. Do you see yourself fighting for a title in Bellator? Do you see yourself in the title picture if you beat Tito Ortiz?
I mean, honestly, probably doesn't sound good, but it's not something I'm really interested in. Um, Like, put it this way: if I won this fight, they're like, "Oh, you could have fight Emmanuel Newton," or "Hey, you could fight Rampage Jackson." Who do you think I'm gonna pick? Rampage Jackson. So I'm just being honest with you.
All right, well, Stephan, I appreciate your honesty. Best of luck in November 15th against Tito Ortiz, and thank you so much for taking your time for this interview.
No problem, Danny. Good talking to you.